it is a space and time for Honorable Didmus Barasa.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this bill. And I also want to really thank the Honorable Ndili Nyoro for coming up with this bill, because the intention is really very good. This country is losing a lot of money in the form of corruption. But, Honorable Speaker, we should ask ourselves one question, sir. The amount of money that this country is losing is always increasing, despite the efforts by government agencies to fight corruption. Instead of corruption going down, it's increasing every day. Is it because the penalty is very low? I don't think so, Honorable Speaker. They say in English that prevention is better than cure. What the police do, what the EACC do, is just to implement one of the elements of fighting corruption, being taking the people who are involved to court. But I have every reason to believe, Honorable Speaker, that the overall fight against corruption lies in the hands of accounting officers. What accounting officers should do, Honorable Speaker, is that after investigations has been carried out, and it's clear on the route that the thieves, that the corrupt used to siphon money, the accounting officers should go back to the offices, review their systems to close down the loopholes that the corrupt people could have used to siphon money, Honorable Speaker. I am a believer that the formula, the ways and the means that people used to steal money in NYS 1, those people may have used the same means and ways, again, to steal money from government through NYS 2. And if we will have an NYS 3, I still believe that those people will use the same formula. So what is important is the accounting officers to do what we call system audit, to be assisted by the investigative reports in identifying where the loopholes are, identifying areas with risks, and mitigate, Honorable Speaker, by way of improving the procurement procedures, by way of improving the audit procedures, because arresting people and taking them to court is not going to stop corruption in this country. What will stop corruption in this country is not the penalties. There must be 2 reports that will come out after corruption-related cases had been reported. We have one report that will clearly show who is to blame and who is to be taken to court. But we must have another report, Honorable Speaker, that I may call a root cause analysis report that will identify the areas where the pilferage took place, where the loopholes in the system that these people are using to siphon money, and you come up with the corrective actions, so that we would want to see a scenario where this House is reviewing policies, is reviewing procedures that are emanating from investigation reports to block the loopholes that the people are using to siphon money, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, like when I said when I was beginning this, my contribution to this bill, is that we must look into our IFMIS procedures. We must look into our procurement procedures. We must look into our audit procedures. There are situations and scenarios, Honorable Speaker, where the Auditor General has given a particular state corporation a clean bill of health as far as audit is concerned, Honorable Speaker, but later on, after some time, you realize that the same people are under EACC investigations. So when privileges has happened, when this country loses money, Honorable Speaker, as a country, we must be able to come up with a report that will assist this country prevent reoccurrence of such abuses, again, Honorable Speaker, going forward. And this can only be possible if the identified loopholes are closed. If we have flaws in the procurement system, those flaws should be mitigated against the review of the procurement system. If we have flaws in our IFMIS system, Honorable Speaker, then we must review our IFMIS systems, reprogram our IFMIS systems to be able to prevent those loopholes, Honorable Speaker. If somebody breaks into my house and steals from my house, I'll move around. If there is any loophole in my fence, if the fence is not very high, Honorable Speaker, I will review and increase the height of my fence. If the doors were made from materials that can easily be broken into, be cut into, then I should reinforce those particular materials that were used to make my doors and my windows, Honorable Speaker. This is exactly what should happen wherever this country loses money, Honorable Speaker. And we need also to look at, to give the EACC prosecutory powers. Because if, as a body that has a responsibility to fight corruption in this country, will be convinced that a particular government officer is corrupt, but again, they are relying on another agency to review their report and take those people in court, Honorable Speaker. We should give them prosecutory powers, such that if they are convinced that a particular individual is corrupt, he has siphoned taxpayers' money, Honorable Speaker, they should be able to take that person to court, Honorable Speaker. Because I know that some of their efforts to fight corruption has been fought by the corruption cartels, Honorable Speaker. I don't think that what this bill proposes to be a fine of 1 million is going to deter corrupt individuals in this country, Honorable Speaker. We know very well that we have people who have stolen millions of shillings, 300 million. So if you are just going to make it very easy that you take me to court and I pay a fine of 1 million, this is not enough to deter people from stealing from government, Honorable Speaker. What is important is a complete system audit, identifying areas with risks, areas with loopholes, and review our systems to prevent or to provide early warning signs, such that immediately money is lost, the system is able to detect. The people who are in charge of various sections are able to detect that we have an element of invoices being falsified. We have an element of people planning to pay for services that were never rendered, so that they can be prevented before the money is lost, Honorable Speaker. This country must invest in preventing corruption, other than spending too much money, Honorable Speaker, in prosecuting those who are found to have stolen money, Honorable Speaker. Because I know very well, Honorable Speaker, that we have been told every time that DPP is pursuing money that particular individuals or particular institutions have stolen. But at the end of the day, it's not clear as to whether the money that was stolen had been recovered or not, Honorable Speaker. We must also come up with a formula as a people of this country that we are able to audit and know that this amount of money had been recovered, this amount of assets had been recovered from this particular period of time, and this is how this amount of money had been spent, Honorable Speaker, to avoid a scenario where some agencies recover the money, recover the assets, and again, these money and assets are embezzled and they don't assist the people of this country. With this, Honorable Speaker, I support, but I'm waiting for the Committee of the Whole House to bring in amendments to make this bill better than it is, Honorable Speaker. I thank you.